Magnitude 6.9 earthquake rocks Chile. More earthquakes. Chile's new president, Sebastián Pinera, was minutes away from being sworn in on Thursday when major aftershocks struck the central coast of this earthquake-ravaged country. But less than an hour after being inaugurated, he appeared on television to announce that troops, relief supplies, and even Mr. Pinera himself would be heading immediately to the quake zone. By responding aggressively to the tremors, Mr. Pinera appeared to be trying to avoid the missteps of his predecessor, Michelle Bachelet, whose initial response to a devastating earthquake last month was criticized as slow and ineffective. Mr. Pinera said the government would deploy all the troops that may be necessary, beginning Thursday evening, to ensure public order on the streets. This government will not hesitate one instant, nor wait 1 second to act, he said. The strong aftershocks, up to a magnitude of 6.9, almost overshadowed the inauguration of Chile's first right-wing leader in 20 years. But Mr. Pinera refused to acknowledge the tremors during the ceremonies, continuing to smile and shake hands with world leaders, even as the National Congress building shook and television light stands swayed precariously. Immediately after the event, the building was evacuated, and the new president, a billionaire businessman and former senator, set out on a busy first day as president of a country still reeling from last month's magnitude 8.8 quake. About an hour after an inaugural lunch with foreign leaders, the new president flew by helicopter to Rancagua, near the epicenter of Thursday's powerful tremors. Later, he appeared in Constitucion, the coastal town hardest hit last month, where at least 87 people were killed and 43 are still missing. Wearing a bright red windbreaker, Mr. Pinera gazed at a damaged church for a few moments and made the sign of the cross before signing his first act as president, a law calling for relief payments of $76 to approximately 4 million people affected by the disaster. He said that one flower for every victim had been placed on the edge of the river where a wave entered from the sea. We aren't going to just reconstruct what the earthquake and tsunami destroyed, he said. We're going to rebuild this city into something much better. He urged Chileans to try to move past their pain and focus on the reconstruction work ahead. We have to be capable of drying our tears, he said. Seeming to take a page from Miss Bachelet, who is known for her compassion and sensitivity, he promised that his government would be close to the people, close to the problems, and committed to solutions. Earlier Thursday, many Chileans found their still raw nerves rattled again by the strongest tremors in several days. The first of the 3 major quakes hit at 11:39 a.m. with an estimated magnitude of 6.9, among the strongest since a major quake on February 27th. The United States Geological Survey reported that the first quake struck the coast west of Rancagua and was quickly followed by one of 6.7 magnitude at 11:55 a.m. and one of 6.0 magnitude at 12:06 p.m. Scores and scores of strong aftershocks have rattled the interior and coastline since the February 27th quake, which killed hundreds and hundreds of people and caused billions of dollars in damage. That quake toppled apartment buildings and bridges and stirred up powerful waves, but erased entire fishing villages hugging the southern coast. The aftershocks on Thursday sent coastal residents fleeing for higher ground, concerned that the tremors would again create devastating waves. But by Thursday afternoon, the Chilean Navy had lifted a tsunami alert. Reports of damage were limited, but emergency official in Rancagua said a highway overpass had collapsed. In the capital, Santiago, 90 miles north of the epicenter of the main aftershock, windows rattled, buildings trembled, and cell phone service failed. In the legislative seat of Valparaiso, approximately 85 miles from the quakes, dignitaries who gathered for Mr. Piñera's inauguration, including presidents of Paraguay and the Crown Prince Felipe of Spain, glanced with distressed faces at the shuddering ceiling of the National Congress building as the quakes hit. They later made nervous jokes about the tremors as they looked up and greeted Mr. Piñera and his wife on their way into the luncheon. Moments after the ceremony, Mr. Piñera issued a catastrophe order for the area around the earthquake, extending the disaster zones declared by the former president, Ms. Bachelet. The declaration meant the military would occupy the area to keep order and prevent the kind of looting that occurred in Concepcion during the first 2 to 3 days after last month's huge quake. The new president planned to meet with his cabinet and the armed forces around midnight on Thursday to organize emergency teams to deal with the aftermath and the country's reconstruction, which will take quite a while. And again, these are more signs. Luke chapter 21, verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Yes, these are more signs of the end times, transition days. There is a great transition going on. It is a process, and it is happening daily all around the world. And there are many different types of signs.